party people, and we're back. Let's go ahead and get some music started. Oh, feels good to be back. It really fucking does. Welcome to the TheDarkStream. It's Explorer time. We've got some theories to test. We're going to start with this little number right here, and I suppose I should make it a little bit easier for everybody to take a look at. So, welcome to Izzet Swarm, aka Izzet Pyro. Yeah, if you haven't gotten the memo, Rending Volley has made 4 archetypes extremely difficult to mess with anymore. Expect to see a ton of it. Hey, what up, Star Trace? How we doing? How we doing? Welcome in, welcome in. So, this is the first of the experiments, and Star Trace, let me know if the volume's off in any way, shape, or form. I think we're good. I think I got it set, but, you know, it's one of the things I'm never quite sure on when it comes to the home base setup, right? Anyway, this is the Izzet Swarm scenario, and I'm going to take these off, honestly. Don't need them. What do we have? Well, we have ourselves a lot of card manipulation, a lot of cheap answers, removal, etc. And then, of course, the 12 pillars of the deck, the third path Iconoclast that made this all possible with the printing in Brothers War, Young Jeezy, back as usual, and Ledger Shredder, which weirdly gives the deck a whole new angle. Outside of that, make disappear, yep, you need the counters, is what it is, happens to be how it goes. Obliterating Bolt, I am back and forth on this. I hate the sorcery speed. I hate it so much. We'll see if this actually makes the cut. Of one mind, this is like mini Treasure Cruise for the deck. It's as close as you're going to get until they give us Treasure Cruise, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wizards. But to be honest, with Treasure Cruise, this deck might be kind of busted. So, in the meantime, I'm 5-1 with this deck. I did some messing around with it earlier today. I really don't know that we need Jegantha, but it's a freebie in this build, so why not? My most common use of Jegantha is throwing it into my hand and then discarding it to Ledger Shredder to give it another +1/+1 counter. I don't know. It's a thing. It's a thing. Rending Volleys, obviously. Aether Gusts, gotta have them. And we're gonna move these around so it looks a little bit cleaner. And 2 Disdainful Stroke, you need them. I've tried to go away from it, you need them. 3 Mystical Dispute, not sure we need all 3 of these. And the 1 Abrade used to be an Obliterating Bolt, and I wanted 1 piece of artifact removal because if you played against mono-white humans, you might remember this card called Redain that gets shoved into their sideboards. And if Redain goes on the shield side, everything that these 2 cards do is irrelevant. I managed to sneak and eke that one out on the back of a very timely Otawara. I think I held onto it for like 4 turns, waited, built the board up, and then eventually Otawara'd the shield back to their hand and killed them. But you don't want to have to rely on just a 1-of. You want to have a couple extras. So that's where we're at on that for now. There are 3 decks that I would mess with right now for those watching. The 3 decks are Izzet Swarm, aka Izzet Pyro, Machine Head, aka Rakdos Midrange, and then of course Gruul Aggro. This is my sneaky suspicion that it might actually be the best deck in the format now. I'm not 100%, but I can tell you that Rending Volley gave this deck the piece it was missing for dealing with a lot of archetypes. And in case you're wondering how many archetypes that card wrecked, let's take a peek, shall we? Humans, not great having to deal with it. Greasefang, not great dealing with Rending Volley. Spirits, not great dealing with Rending Volley. So there's the first 3 right there. If I remember correctly, there was 1 other archetype. I honest to God can't remember. It's running around here somewhere. Anyway, so what deck got the most love? Just outright. It was the Mono Green Devotion list. This is about where I would start with it. This is basically a port from Pioneer, except instead of Oath of Nissa, we have 2 more Lovestruck Beast and 2 Nissa. The Pioneer build doesn't have that because Oath of Nissa is where you want to be, and then they get to run 1 copy of Nicol Dragon God. The sideboard is a work of art. It's an all-Karn sideboard. You never actually have to sideboard with this deck. It's a straight 15-card wish board for Karn. Don't know that I love the Transmogrifying Wand, but every other card in here so far I've been very impressed with. It's all situational, and that's why it's a 15-card wish board. But holy shit, does it go hard. That said, not sure on the wand, waiting to see when that's actually going to be relevant, or if it's just a port from Pioneer that we're not really certain how it fits yet. That said, expect to see a lot of mono green. I would expect to see a fair amount of humans right now because people are excited to try it, much like they're excited to try mono green. I've seen a fair number of higher ranked players on Gruul Aggro, which doesn't surprise me. Haven't seen Greasefang at all since this dropped, which also doesn't surprise me. Nor have I seen Spirits since this dropped, and I've played about 20 matches now. I'm not saying these are gone forever, but I am saying that their Tier 1 status card has been revoked in my opinion and shuffled on down to Tier 1.25 or Tier 1.5, because Rending Volley is that important. For those wondering how it fits into Rakdos midrange, there's some different pieces. My build of Rakdos midrange will be different from your build. Don't lose your mind. Rending Volley is in here though, as you can see. We're seeing a 4 of in Izzet, the Gruul, and the Rakdos archetypes. Why? To keep everything else at bay, and then you can just do what you want to do. Like, oh, Angels, that was the other list. I already deleted it because I don't want to play Angels anyway. Angels, also really weak to Rending Volley. That said, we're sitting around in Diamond right now, and fuck it, why not do a run and see if we can go to Mythic? It's been a minute since I've actually tried. I've kind of been messing around with ideas in the vintage world and not really playing a lot of Arena. But Wizards pulled me back in with that sweet, sweet anthology. And by that I mean they printed like 5 cards of relevance and 20 cards that I ignored. It is how it is. Max Damage, what is up? If you guys have not checked out Max Damage's stream, dude works hard, great stream. He and his wife, ICPJs, fantastic people. Love working with them. Part of the community. And we're off and running. Alrighty. Oh, always, Max. Always. I think we're fine with this hand. It's a little land heavy. We're only running 21 lands, though, so the odds of us flooding out are not super high. Yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see what we're up against first before we start opting and making decisions. So it looks like Gruul. We need to get ahead of this train. Yep, let's get away from that land. And that's fine. So we do Ledger Shredder over Iconoclast here because we expect them to have a Bone Crusher Giant, and this gets right around it. We love that. If they have the Obliterating Bolt, so be it, but mostly I just want to punish people for going the other route on this. Yeah, I don't think this deck's very expensive. That part should be noted. I haven't really thought about it that much, but yeah. So the question there also, by the way, chat, was do we get the extra Shredder thing rolling? Well, this is a different deck than I thought. Okay. And perhaps it would have been good if I had known this was a Grazer deck. Interesting. We're going to have ourselves a very, very weird scenario going on in a moment. I'm not going to consider on end step. That feels like a trap. We have to be somewhat careful of these things. Let's begin with a basic thing here. Let's get a consider up and running. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Don't need that. Need a little bit more gas potentially. Let's do this. Yeah. Let's get this Arboreal Grazer out of the way. We don't need the third Fiery Impulse here. I'm gonna dump this one down as well. Well, maybe not yet. Let's start with an attack and let's see what they do. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with this. I want to be able to double spell the Spell Pierce into the Consider to get a little bit more action if they go that route. This is an interesting one. Well, this feels good. And let's shred a few ledgers right here. I don't think we need the Fiery Impulse. And do we care about going even wider? I don't know that I do. Okay, they're out that quick. Now, here's the fun part. We move to game 2. Guess what we brought? Ding, 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 ding. Simple as that. We go 6 in. This is red-green ramp, I guess. I'm assuming it's just a ramp deck. I don't know if bolts are going to matter much, and sorcery speed's a bit of a liability here. I also am a little bit leery of pushing heavily into Fiery Impulses, and I'm a little leery of having extra Spell Pierces in this particular scenario because of how hard they're ramping. I don't know that we want more, like we need this baseline, I think, to get through those Arboreal Grazers, and I don't know what else they're playing yet, that we've only seen a few cards, right? I've not seen this archetype before, so let's play it safe going into game 2, and if we get rolled by something weird, we'll have the full knowledge to move into game 3. Good enough for me. Ooh, this is what we call risky, but I kind of like it. The opts, I kind of like it. It looks riskier than it is. We're going to get to dig 5 cards deep, and there's the second land already. Alright, let's hold up the Spell Pierce mana, just in case. What in the hell is that doing in the main? Oh, it's a ramp spell. Okay. Fascinating. I'm very intrigued. I'm not entirely certain. I mean, this is just a growth spiral at sorcery speed. It's interesting. I don't know that it's good, but it's interesting. Alright, so Chandra. Chandra is a thing. We can't dump the Ledger Shredder safely into play with them having the ability to Chandra on this turn, or go into Matter Reshaper. Okay, so this is the Eldrazi deck, sort of? Oh, thank God. Let's push a Young Jeezy out. And the reason for this is we want to get to an opt scenario as quickly as possible, and have the ability to do a Fiery Impulse so that we can get into Of One Mind. Just start drawing cards like crazy and go off, basically. Okay, that only hits creatures. Okay, so they minus the Karn. What do they bring in, though? Like, what is the card that we need to be worried about here? Oh, Karn. You're so dead. Unless they have some very weird card I've never heard of before in my life. Oh, God Pharaoh statue. Yeah, it's pretty good against us. Yeah, you're not going to go there. I need very different cards to deal with this scenario. Okay. So we're going to smack at Karn here. Karn must die. They get to go on God Pharaoh statue, but if they're going to go that path, the question really for me becomes, do we Ledger Shredder into a Ledger Shredder, or do we Ledger Shredder into an Of One Mind to try and get enough lands to get around some of these pieces? I think I'm on Of One Mind. We can still get a Spell Pierce off this. There is still a copy in the deck, and we are drawing 3 deep. I don't love it, but by the same token, I don't hate it either. Okay. We might end up getting to do a very weird sequence here where we Fiery Impulse our own Ledger Shredder just to get the extra creature on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's still not worth it. See, the thing is, this position's not amazing, but it's also not damning yet, because we can still just play like a control deck. Like, so be it. We still have 2 counters. They're not getting through the wall easily. I think we just say no, right? Or does it matter? Does this even matter? I mean, we can literally just strangle into Aether Good. Does it buy them too much time? I think this is worth doing. Beauty is this also replaces itself, so these Make Disappears turn into upgraded Mana Leaks with Young Jeezy in play, which is kind of lovely. We're a little soft. No, why are they paying that? Okay, interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite. Okay. Smack them and pass. I've actually had to win through God Pharaohs once today already. People always seem to think that this plus this is going to lock this deck out, but it just forces us to play on a different axis. And in the meantime, you've time walked yourself twice to get to this stage, which is rarely the correct move in my opinion. Okay, Arboreal Grazer, that's fine. But what does your deck do? So we start with this. Derp, don't care about that. Then we do this. Oh, right, it's not the right color for that, is it? Because it's colorless. That's irritating. Okay. Okay. Well, that's coming down. How close are we to being able to just roll through it anyway? Because it's, let's see, so they block the Ledger Shredder, then take 5, and they're sitting with not much on board. That feels reasonable. I mean, we're still holding up Aether Gust, we've got the Den of the Bugbear, and we've got the Consider. Yeah, I think we just go balls to the wall here. You can mess with a lot of things, but end of the day, we can just go wide. That is the beauty of this deck. We've got the Aether Gust, so Anger the Gods, Red Wraths, none of that's going to matter. Yep, and there's the W. Just like that. So we'll start off with a nice W pushing us into Diamond Tier 2. Hooray. And onward and upward, my friends. I do think that this is potentially a good budget deck. That is a good point. Star Trace, to reiterate this. This Pyro deck, I don't think it costs very much. Like, the mana base is pretty expensive, I guess. But once you get through the mana base, which is almost literally every land... Okay, so those are the only rares in the deck. Okay. Yeah, if you've got the mana base, everything else is a common and uncommon, except for Ledger Shredder and Jegantha. Pretty easy to make if you've got some spare wild cards. Or if you've just collected some of these because you wanted to have them. Yeah, I mean, to me this feels like a tier 1 deck. It is not easy to play, it is not intuitive, you're going to have to take a lot of L's learning lines, but once you learn the lines, you get a lot of margin points. And personally, I'm less about getting the easy wins and more about becoming a better player and trying to figure out the weird lines. Which, you know, some people want to play Mono Green Devotion and just go flip-flop nuts on the table. How does it feel compared to, is it Phoenix? I mean, it's a powered-down version of Phoenix, but they powered down Phoenix pretty hard, so there isn't a way to go back to Phoenix for now. I would be terrified to take this up against Rakdos midrange right now. It felt pretty even against Gruul earlier. I haven't played against Rakdos today. I've been playing against a ton of Mono Green Devotion, ton of Mono White Humans, some Angels, and just rolling them. My only loss with this so far is Gruul, and it was a close 3. That arguably, if I hadn't missed a land drop on game 3 that I needed, which was critical, we would have won that. Instead, we got time walked and they got Sky Sovereign out, which is... let's see, Lutri, what the fuck? Okay, somebody is having a lot of fun brewing, and I'm here for it. Hell yeah. Brew hard. Let's pay some life. Let's wait and see what they do. Lutri. This is wild. Okay. It's gonna be like a control build, probably. A very intriguing control build. Normally, not the scenario, but I'm running this one out. And just waiting. I really don't know what this deck's going to be about because every single card in this deck is different. This is a commander deck when it plays Lutri, right? Like every non-land card has a different name, so it's strictly one of straight through. So then we end up with, yeah, stuff like this, where I'm like, I have no goddamn clue why it's like this, but it is. So, and they didn't take it down. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. Okay. Well, he's gotta die, so let's get to killing it. So the way we solve this is we wait till their turn and then we hit the consider then. I really wish this could hit Planeswalkers too. It's a little rough. I don't know. I've not played against Lutri in ranked ever. This is a first for me. To be fair, it takes some pretty strong brewing. And most people that are brewing that hard aren't playing ranked. Usually with ranked play, you don't get a lot of diversity because once people discover what the meta needs to be, they just lock in and that's that. And I'm not a brew guy, personally. I don't do a lot of brewing. I do a lot of tuning. I take archetypes and I fuck with them, but brewing has never been my specialty. Okay, let's just do this. They should have the removal for Shredder here, out of these 4 cards. Which is fine, because we Sekenzan through the Narset if we do. Gross, not doing that. Interesting. Now, what do we think we're going to see here, chat? Where's the removal piece? It should be coming. There we go. Yep. Oh, back. Well, that was well done. Well done indeed. Got me on that one. The has in the first, not gonna lie. Let's kill this Narset. We got shit to do. When the connive backfires, Narset. I played against a lot of Narset this week, thanks to Vintage, because this card is huge in that format. But it's been a minute since I've really messed with it in this context. I don't like this. This is weird that I feel behind in this very random commander-esque match. To be fair, I also like. How do you know the lines or the play patterns in this scenario? Hey, what up, Lieutenant Watts? Glad to have you. Like just straight up, I don't know where we need to go for the lines of the play patterns here, because we're playing against this commander deck that's all one-ups. Like, how do you plan for that? All right, let's get him for 2. We'll see what Perdition has in store for us next turn. Hopefully, a big fat spell we can spell pierce. That's the goal. I'm wondering if we shouldn't have had that Spire. If we shouldn't have kept the Spire Bluff Canal over the Fiery Impulse. I'm beginning to have some regrets here. Yeah, swing him in. Rawr. Hey, what up, Lord Skitham? Just messing around with this weird pile. I really don't know what they're trying to do here. Failing to find land there was rough. We were kind of hoping. We were kind of hoping to see 1 land there, so that we could have Make Disappear up as well. I don't know that it's going to matter. We're in such a weird board state now. Like, they can Lutri, but to what effect? I don't really care if they double a power word kill or an opt or an eliminate. Like, what does it matter? You blow up 2 tokens. And then we just blow up the... What's Otter? Blow up the Otter? Yeah. Seems fairly intuitive. I don't know. Okay, consider, yep. Rona's Vortex also in the deck. Interesting. I'm gonna try and just win with these 1/1s probably in the end. Oh my god. Alright, whatever. We don't mind tapping out here. Words I may rue in one moment, but I think we're fine. Yeah, take mini treasure cruise. Like, eventually we're gonna need it. And I don't give a fuck. Yeah, we're just swinging in. Just keep going. My hope is that they move to animate the Hive of the Eye Tyrant so I can blow it up with a Fiery Impulse and feel real good about my life. But they're not falling for traps either. They're just kind of rolling with this. What you doing? Perdition, perdition, perdition. We have been stacking our hands, but is it? Are we at the point where we can start trading blows? Oh, that's fine. I mean, we can get into the cling to dust. That's fine. It's not really that big a deal in the end. It buys time, but this is like a sub game we're playing. We're not in the position where we're playing the real game yet. The guns haven't come out on the other side, nor have they really come out now. And wow, they just whiffed on a search for Jegantha. That doesn't happen often. I guess hard to say given their deck, but it's a pretty rare thing from what I remember. Interesting. Okie dokie. We already have 4 blue and 3 red. We'll go 1 more on the blue for that exact reason. Have not seen much in the way of Young Jeezys or anything in the way of those. We're almost half the way through our deck and we have yet to see any of our 8 copies of Young Jeezy. Interesting. Well, let's push it on back. If they don't want to blow up our 1/1s, that's fine. We can deal 2 points of damage till we win the game. It would not be the first time I've done that in my life. And I am still waiting to see what the hell this deck is trying to do. I feel like it's trying to do a lot of things, but I don't really know. It's driving me a little nuts. But I'm not certain of... Okay. Can't be countered. Sure. It's annoying. It's very annoying, actually. Because it's draw 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8? Christ. I mean, we can get through it, but... You know, it's okay. We kind of needed to blow out our hand anyway. Let this be the excuse. What do we think here, chat? Do we just pop through this? I think so. Let's see if they counter. Not so much. Okay. Well, I would rather discard a land than the rest of this, so... Off you go, little one. Potentially should have played this as under a red source instead, but mistakes get made. Alright, well, let's start with the first thing. That Lutri cannot resolve. That would be a problem. And that's going to resolve. Yep. You get a 7/7. Start swinging. See, all I need to get through is 1 Hall of the Storm Giant here. That's it. 1 Hall goes through, we win the game, right? And I have a feeling we can do that. Alright, let's start with the basics here. We smack, 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 smack. 7, 3, 2. Okay, so we can't do the Hall yet, but we can apply more pressure, which we should be doing. Absolute madness. I love it. Well, Let's start the interaction. I was really hoping to have a young GZ this turn to go kind of nuts, but I don't know that that's going to happen, so... We know they don't have another copy of Negate. Might as well do this. Yep, we can literally blow out the entire hand here. And will. Alright, whole hand's gone. I don't think we're well set up for this game one. This is much more of a control deck grind, and yeah, that's not going to go well for us. That's okay though. Because we get to swing out the Hollow of the Storm Giant. They have to waste quite a bit on resources if they want to deal with it. So we get to put them down to 3. And that's within reason. It's definitely within reason. Well, where have you been all my life? Yeah, let's still push it. Every turn, make them deal with stuff. The last basic. Grab that Jegantha. Yes, we will. And let's see if they start using these eliminates. Really? Just taking it again. Interesting. Right, Skitham? Just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and eventually vomit. And they tapped intriguingly. I assume they're going to go for a Cling to Dust to get some more life here, right? Yeah, this is about getting another 3 life? Yeah. Alright. There it is. I wondered. Okay. Rawr. We smack everything. Balls to the wall here. Alright, let's get this Iconoclast down, and let's see if we can get a third path Iconoclast. Can we get this Bolt through the God? Because if we can, we actually get rid of Scarab God, which would be kind of hilarious. What you got? Another counterspell. Jesus. Jesus. Alright. They should have us on that. But I'm going to wait a moment and see what else they do. Because, I mean, it's a commander deck. Every card we see is another card we know for next time. So, why not? Why shouldn't we? In case you're wondering how Scarab God can kill you out of nowhere, get ready for it. Holy shit, they had the Gear Hulk too. Okay, so this is straight up control. We just needed to move faster. So it looks like it is bug control. Wow. Hey, I love that they're showing us more spells. I wanted to know, and I think we're going to get to. And he goes. Alright, let's get to game 2. We've got some sideboarding to do for this one. First and foremost, Mystical Disputes. Very good here. Disdainful Strokes. Also very good here. Don't love Strangle. Don't love Fiery Impulses. I think we keep the bolts because we can potentially hit the Scarab God on those. I'm not saying it's going to happen often, but when it does, it's going to be relevant. Red or green. Was there anything green we saw? I didn't see a fucking green or red spell. Perdition, Perdition. What are you doing with this brew of yours? Oh, this is where you get those tension points where you want to be able to side out like 3 more for 3 more counters, but like I have to commit into the Aether Gust and the Rending Volleys to keep the other archetypes at bay, and then it comes down to like, do you want the Abrade? Do you want the 4th Spell Pierce? Do you want the 1st Negate? This is really the biggest variable slot of all of them, is trying to figure this out. So, anyway, that looks good for game 2. Let's move to it. Let's see what we got going. All right, Perdition, you got us in the first half. I ain't gonna lie, but it's time. It's time to get back onto that horse. Do we play first? Of course we do. Not a single threat against a control deck. I don't love this. Like, having the Fiery Impulse is kind of like we already mulled a 6, since we're not really looking for it anyway. That's a much better hand. Yeah, I can work with this. Weirdly, it's the Consider that goes here. We're going to need double Shredder. Yeah. They're going to kill the first one, which is acceptable. We need to have the second. Let's start by forcing it. Interesting. There are people who will disagree with this line, but they haven't presented us with a reason to hold up a counter for turn 3 yet. And I don't... Yeah, that's fine. That's not the thing I'm worried about. They're just holding it, I think. So the awkward part here is that they get to do all of the conniving. The good news is it's only going to cost us the Jegantha that we went for. So it's kind of like we got a counter in exchange for a Time Walk. It's a weird balance on this. Narset, Narset, Narset. What are you doing? Interesting. I don't dare play the second Ledger Shredder till this Narset's off the board. That would be suiciding the hand for tempo here. Let's kill this thing. They're gonna get the Jegantha out of our hand with the Narset auto connive. Two for 2 on these. Okay, we don't mind replaying and moving into this. That's actually totally acceptable. Otawara, huh? Okay. Well, from here on out, they're gonna have to earn it. I don't mind the position we're in, frankly. It's a weird one. Clearly, they're not a terrible player. Their sequencing is pretty impeccable so far. Here comes the double spell to deal with the Shredder. Three. We just let it go? I think so. Again, don't love this, doing it anyway. If they have a second spell, this is an ideal time to play it to get the Ledger Shredder. Interesting, they didn't go for the Censor just to make us discard. It's kind of fascinating. I would have expected that, frankly. Alright, Meat Hook's handled. Narset probably sacks itself to just get an extra card here. Yeah. And now we're back off to the races. It's a little greedy to go on the second Shredder here. It's a little greedy. If they have a Wrath effect, we get blown out. Especially, well, because it's not going to be blue, right? Yeah. It's a little greedy. Let's sequence correctly. Let's not let the greed take over, as tempting as it is. And boy, is it fucking tempting against control decks to get greedy. So far, we've sequenced well in game 2. Let's keep that trend going. You can see where the Mystical Disputes look rather nice in this matchup so far. I like Torrential Gearhulk, Scarab God. I ain't scared of none of that shit. This counterspell, ain't scared. Yeah, I mean, we'll dispute this all day. That's fine. Jegantha's coming down for this one. We've got the Mystical Dispute. We want to seal the game next turn, and this gives us the ability to do that. If they go for any blue-based spell, it won't matter. And any other spell, I mean, it like kind of matters, but yeah. Okay. Get the game 2. Good sequencing. Proud of myself. Hooray. Interesting. I think I'm going to push this out for the 1 Strangle so that we can hit Planeswalker. My guess is that'll be somewhat more relevant. I'm tempted to have the Abrade for the Torrential Gearhulk, but by the point that they resolve Gearhulk, most of the time you're already kind of fucked. So let's not bother with that. Really wish we could have like 3 more counters. Super tempted to take that Abrade and shove it right back into something else. Like, could we could shave potentially 1 Rending Volley, but I don't want to. That's really what it boils down to. I don't expect to see a bunch of people running Lutri decks, and if it becomes a fashion, we will adjust accordingly. But this feels like a one of fun of kind of deck. I'm not saying it's not powerful either. I'm just saying there aren't a lot of people that want to take the time to figure out how to make this. This is fine. There are people that will disagree with the sequencing of this, but this holds up Spell Pierce and represents it, which I think is potentially important in this matchup. Let's go this path, and we'll pass it right back. At this point, we're just trying to get Young Jeezys on the board, which means we're waiting a little bit longer than we want, but I think that's fine. Den of the Bugbear. What are you doing? Yep. Thanks for giving me the untapped land, I guess? I don't know. Fuck it. We'll take it. What I would really like is not exactly that. Okay, let's get the first one rolling towards the next portion of the game. All right, they let Young Jeezy out the bag. Interesting. Didn't expect that. Yeah, That isn't the war we want. Because let's say we go with, well, I mean, Make Disappear is the only thing we can play, and it does. It's like it'll give us a 1/1, but it's not going to counter the Fatal Push. Just leaves us open to Scarab God and all their 5-drops, which feels like a big fucking mistake if we're going that route. That's going to be rough. This is a key piece. Definitely going to be rough. Okay. We wait one more turn. I want to be able to do Young Jeezy with 2 counter backup. Yep. Not getting any momentum on the board early is a problem for this deck, and I think that's worth noting as we're testing and tuning it. Like, cards like Fatal Push being this good against our deck is pretty damning for whether this deck is actually going to be worthwhile in the long run. Alright, let's push Young Jeezy out. And just see what they do. What I want to see is like 2 straight big fat dumb spells that we get to easily counter. What I'm probably going to see is a small piece of removal here. Seems effective. Again, we can't really risk the Otawara Disdainful Stroke scenario there. Because, again, if we Otawara our creature back, we end up in a really crappy place quickly. So, let's get Ledger Shredder going. Do they have literally all the removal they need for every creature we play? Okay. That's fine, we have Otawara. I'm not really concerned about that. Like, it's annoying, but meh. We can deal with it. This definitely doesn't feel like a great match for us right now, though. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Part of me really just wants to animate Hall of the Storm Giants, block the 5/5, and get away with it. Do I think that's going to happen? Not really, no. Turn on my Ledger Shredder. Come on now. Sure. There's not much we can do against that. These Make Disappears have lost relevance far too quickly, which is unfortunate. Yeah, take the Treasure Cruise. Minimal. And back it goes. Can't counter that. What you gonna do? You know what I got, so you can play around it. Was it worth taking those 5 points to guarantee the second main phase didn't have a bomb that gets pushed through with a counter back? Turns out we were okay, thank God. Okay. Well, we got another Iconoclast, so let's get to work. Come on, Perdition. What do you got for me? Okay. So we get a search for his Jegantha on end step, probably. Yep. Card is hella effective, but they whiffed on that one. Dimir control singleton. Such an interesting concept. Definitely not one I've mucked with before. Yeah, we're still doing this on main phase. If we can get it down and then they try to remove the shredder, then we can at least get shredder started. Which is kind of the point. Come on now, what do you got? Yep, all the removal, all the time. Brutal. But to be fair, this is Dimir control, and that is what the fuck Dimir control does. This is going to be a problem. Third straight game of Narset in a singleton deck getting played. These make disappears, absolute liabilities here. That's pretty bad in this context. I think we have to kill the Narset. Like this, the gates are wide open, but if we don't kill the Narset, I mean, are we going to have a shot at this game? I don't think so. It looks like we got controlled right out of this. We'll see though. They still have to get through the Hall of the Storm Giants, which they should have the removal piece for, but it's not a guarantee, and if they don't, you know, kill the Narset, get back in the game. Okay. Don't love it, don't hate it. Do they have the bomb to follow it up with is really the question. If they've got Scarab God, this game's about to end. Yep. Okay, so now if they take down Narset, Ledger Shredder can get through. That's nice. They got their own Hall of the Storm Giants. Good for them. And at this point, I don't know that I'm even going to give a shit about Narset, frankly. Yeah, we have to. Damn. Don't you hate it when it doesn't work out? Do they actually have the answer to Hall of the Storm Giants? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Fuck. And so they do. Well, of all the random shit to lose to, if it's gonna be one, I'm happy it's Lutri. And I think it's gonna be Lutri. It looks like they have a pretty unassailable position here. Which is a little wild. Ooh. Oof. 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 Are we gonna get them on time? No, we're not. That thing we've been holding Disdainful Stroke up for? Yeah. I mean, you just blow up the Shredder, right? At least that's what I would do in this context. That a Braid that we didn't board in is looking better and better in it. Imagine being able to just untap a Braid. The old artifact construct. Well, they're taking forever to make a basic decision, so we're just gonna do a little mocking back and forth on the emoji. There's this thing called sportsmanship, and then there's this thing called being a little salty because their weird-ass deck just beat a very tuned deck that was not prepared for this monstrosity. To be fair, I do kind of hope this becomes a thing, because if we start seeing a bunch of like Lutri control decks running around, that is fun. I'm all about that life. Come on, Perdition, don't do this. I mean, I said time wasn't going to be a factor, but I guess if they use all of their timeouts because they've, like, their ship must have crashed, right? Which means they should be back on in like 30 seconds, just in time to give like all of us hope that it isn't going to end like this, and then the inevitable occurs. Just wait for it. Just wait for it, chat. It's coming. Like, their system may have crashed, but they are furiously trying to get back in right now. I guarantee it. They're sitting there with Win on board like, oh, we've got this. We just have to get back, and we have to get logged in. Frankly, at this point, I think I just want to time them out. I don't know. Ah, see? There they go. They got it. That was the piece. Okay. Leg out. Maybe they just have a really bad connection. Happens from time to time. See, if they didn't have the Narset, do you see how many cards we'd be drawing here? We'd go through 5 more cards for 3 mana, probably get at least a land for the Disdainful, and we'd be back up and running. This Narset has been absolutely a house against us. Like, no doubt about it, it has been the game changer. Oh, there's a cut down. Always fun. Well, let's start with the obligatory, I need a little guy so I don't die right now. Yeah, you're not going to do it. That's not going to do it either. D-stroke versus duress, not great. We'll take it. Lutri. I just want to see more of the deck, in case you're wondering. Like, I know we've lost this game, but I'm just curious if I get to see anything else that's, like, spicy. So I'm willing to wait for a moment just to find out if there's anything spicy that's left. I do think this is a healthy sign for Explorer, that somebody's able to brew up like a singleton control deck, and there are enough different cards that essentially do the same thing. You know, like Cut Down, Go for the Throat, Fatal Push, Rona's Vortex. These are all examples of removal spells that do slightly different things, but kind of the same thing at the same time. Yeah, we'll take the 5. That's fine. We go to 1. We know who we are. Weirdly keeps us in the game. Okay, all of this has to go at Narset because Narset has to die for us to have even a weird outside shot here. Alright, if we're gonna do this, it's now or never. I need a Young GZ right fucking now. You're not Young GZ. I think it's gonna be never there, chat. Alright. They got us. Second loss of the day. This time to a Lutri deck that I have never seen before and hope never to see again. Unless it becomes a cool part of the meta, in which case we'll just play a different deck. Because there's many, many weaknesses to a deck like that. Its biggest strength is that nobody's played against it, so learning how to sequence, not easy. Do I want to flip you for a negate? Nope, I don't. I don't think it's worth getting the extra points there. Let's get back into that queue. If at first you don't succeed, well, you know what Dre said. And if you don't, listen to more Dr. Dre. Shit's immaculate, you know? Alright, we're up against Neverwin, and we're hoping to make that name a reality. That is not going to do it. We are 1 land short. That is rough, but we are going to keep it. I don't love it. I don't love it, chat. But think we have to keep this one on the play. We keep it simple. We'll Spire Bluff Canal into a Den of the Bugbear. Get this Iconoclast going with Spell Pierce back up on turn 3. And that's green-white, which means gates are down. Here we go. If I see green-white, I assume their turn 2 spell is not going to be removable. Yep. And now we sit back and begin phase 2. Confluence. Interesting. No. We're not playing Reflector Mage games. Not today. Not today. So Thalia keeps us from pulling this Jegantha and doing what we want with it. So I think we're just going to dump that tap. Thalia does a great job against our deck. That's worth noting. We do have a lot of ways to deal with it. We're just not drawing any of them yet. What in the flying fuck are you? Okay. I think we need to find an answer quickly now. You're not it. Okay, we're flooding pretty hard for a deck with 21 lands. Not great. Not great. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 21. So a third of our lands in the first 12 cards. Not great. God, there's no way this pans out well. Alright. We'll hold up the Spell Pierce instead of pulling the Jegantha in. Not 100% on that move either, but I feel like if we get Coco'd, we're going to want to just... Ugh. Okay, so this goes on stack and you go nuts, right? Except that this is activated as a sorcery, so... Yeah, that's not how that combo works, never mind. You have to sack first and then you get to untap it with Quarter Monitor. So this is like a Birthing Pod combo. I don't know how many of you were around for Birthing Pod when it was sitting in... What was the name of it? Modern. Sorry, blanked. But it functioned somewhat like this, depending on the iteration. You can ask Monsieur McLean, who won 3 GPs, 2 GPs with it. Okay, so this deck just gets like quad specialist off of Prime Speaker. That's not bad. I mean, that is a lot of gas you got to deal with. I'm kind of intrigued. I've not ever seen this combo before. Look, chat, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose and you learn. And I am all about losing to learn against a deck like this. This is fascinating. Okay, so what do you do with the last Prime Speaker? You got all 4 specialists. So what's the last one you're getting? Why? Okay, I feel like they're critically misplaying this. It's still doing just fine, which is, well, it's a little damning for us. It's a little damning for us. Yeah. Okay, combo piece has to go. Simple as that. Card has to die. Big problem if it doesn't. And I don't know that they run anything we can Spell Pierce, so we're just going to push it right on back to them. Sure, take the Iconoclast. Go nuts on the Extraction Specialists, probably. 1, 2... There, and 3, 6, 9, 11, 15 points. Yeah. Don't think we're gonna sneak this one back. Game 1 is gonna go to the combo deck. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Alright, so they misplayed the hell out of that and still did just fine. Aether Gust, you're a card. Rending Volley, you're a card. Abrade, you are a card. Cards that don't matter here. Spell Pierce pretty clearly. Make Disappear, probably not that relevant. We probably don't need 4 Aether Gusts. They are not very heavy in those colors, so 2 is probably sufficient for what we're doing. And we'll leave the rest into removal. Alright, chat. Let's see what we can do here. If Pyro is a deck that cannot deal with the randomness at all, then it's probably going to get shelved in favor of playing something that's just more powerful outright through week 1 of the meta. Because that's really what you're doing in week 1 of a meta. You're trying to find the most powerful thing you can do. The reason I gravitated towards Izzet Pyro is it does a really good job of handling matchups that other decks can't, and I kind of expected the meta to already be somewhat defined. Like, I expected to see Gruul Aggro and Rakdos running around to some degree, but I also expected a lot of people to be trying out humans and mono green devotion, which is where I know Izzet does well. So it was a gamble, and it was doing just fine until we started hitting the randomness, but now we are hitting the randomness. Let's lead off here. We're not really showing Spell Pierce. Human it is. Okay, so this is 3-color humans. Which means we just need to get going. That's the solution to 3-color humans. Tempo, tempo, tempo. If they go Thalia, we Rending Volley the Thalia into Of One Mind. Interesting. Or in this case, we can just go wide. Yeah, let's just go wide. They should have an extraction specialist for that, but we wanted Of One Mind to pop off. Reflector Mage is also an acceptable scenario. That's fine. Don't actually care about that much. Let's do a little ledger shredding. Don't know that we need another one of those. 3-2, yeah. Alright, we push it on back. We're holding up the bolt for the Prime Speaker if they do that, go for that on turn 4. Because we can Prime Speaker, Fiery Impulse, smash through with everything and still have Considers back to double trigger that on their turn. Not too shabby, and that if they go the Prime Speaker route, I'm saying we have a really decent shot at getting this game too. But we'll see. We'll see. Wow, that was quick. Didn't expect to see them throwing the towel that fast. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Move on, play it again, rock it out. I think so. I think so. Those Aether Gusts are kind of cringy, but I don't like Make Disappear in this matchup. It's just not very strong. This at least is kind of a pseudo removal spell and can occasionally counter things for a turn. It's just a time walk against the Prime Speakers is the point. And if we're in the right place to take advantage of that time walk, we'll be fine. But we shall see. Let's see where this ends up. How we feeling tonight, chat? We having some fun? Choo-choo. Alright, Neverwin. You gonna live up to your name? Let's find out. Looks like a lot of sideboarding going on over there. So it goes. So it goes. What else is there to fuck with in Explorer? I mean, outside of the 3 main archetypes, I haven't found anything that looks that interesting to brew with yet. And I want there to be. Like, I want there to be more things to brew with, but we need more cards, really. And we're missing too many of them. I think we're missing something like 40 staples, roughly, out of Pioneer. And until we get those 40 staples, it's, we're missing a lot of stuff. Oh, glad to hear, Skillum. Yeah, it helps that it's Explorer. It really helps that it's Explorer. Standard's pretty stale at the moment from what I've been able to tell. I haven't seen anything original there in quite some time. But Explorer's got a lot of different axes to mess with. Either way, if this one doesn't work, we'll probably shift over and mess with Gruul Aggro. Like, I'll play this till we hit 2 losses, but if we hit 2 losses, I'm shifting it on over to Gruul Aggro, because I was back and forth on whether this was strong enough to actually compete anyway. Like, did we start out hitting, 5-1? Yeah, I guess 6-1 before we hit our second loss of the day, but not the second loss of the stream. Yeah, but 6-2 is not good enough for a tournament. So I just play these things till we hit 2 losses. Typically, in the moment I hit that second loss, I'm like, nope, that's out. In most tournament settings, we're just not going to be there. Friction Obliterator. Oh, God. Okay, Star Trace. I'm going to put this out there. Friction Obliterator is not going to be as good as people want it to be. I don't even think it's going to be good in Standard. People always wanted that card to be good. It's situationally, it can be quite something, but mostly it's just a 4-turn clock that gets answered by any Doomblade effects, and Standard is chock full of go for the throats. So I don't really expect to see a whole lot of Obliterator. Like, Obliterator is at its best when the meta is red deck wins, because you stick that little fucker out there and it's the wall that they can't get through. And then you stick a second one and start swinging with the first, and it's a 4-turn clock. But that's the peak Friction Obliterator scenario. If you're playing against most other color sets, like play Friction Obliterator against that mono white deck, it's a terrible card there. They're going to swing with Friction Obliterator, and you just Wandering Emperor them, you destroy Evilit, you lay down arms. What the fuck happened? Like, okay, I guess they disconnected. Well, I guess we'll take the easy win then. I actually wasn't too worried about getting that. We're set up much better for this post board, hence Rending Volley. You guys want to keep rolling with this Izzet Pyro, or do you want to switch over to Gruul Aggro? I'll give you the choice on this one, chat, because I'm kind of back and forth on the Izzet deck, and if you want to see more of it, I'm happy to keep piloting. But if you want to push over and check out Gruul Aggro, or if you have another archetype that you're like, hell yeah, I really want to see this, and maybe you don't have the wild cards on your end, but because I'm a degenerate crackhead when it comes to cardboard, I have all of them, so we can play whatever we want. The question is, switch it up? Okay. Are you feeling the Gruul Aggro, Lord Skidum, or are you feeling any of the other stuff? I mean, we've got nothing but tier 1s across the top here, and then some former tier 1s sitting over here, and then, a pet deck that's definitely not good enough, and I've tried, so believe me, it's not good enough. But what do you want to see on this? And if you got some weird stuff you really want to mess with, we can deep dive it. See the aggro? Okay. So let's take a quick look at this so that everybody has an idea of what this is trying to do. Welcome to Gruul Midrange / Aggro. Why this deck is so good, I think can be boiled down to it has all the acceleration of Mono Green Devotion, except it gets to do this thing where it plays removal, and more importantly, it can do on the play turn 2 Stormseeker into turn 3 Chariot Crew Smack, because you get to crew on the back of the 2 tokens and then give it haste and then copy another token. So that's the god draw with this deck, is you turn 1 elf, turn 2 Stormseeker, turn 3 Chariot Crew Smack. Now you have 8 power on the board and a chariot sitting there along with a Stormseeker. The boats are there because Rakdos Midrange has a really hard time answering boat most of the time. A Crone War is there because it's kind of a pseudo removal / tempo play. This sideboard may not make sense to everybody. Many people look at this and they're like, why the fuck are you playing Embercleave? Embercleave is actually there for more of the control matchups where you have all these dead slots that don't do much of anything, and you just pull them out and you go full aggro. And you're like, okay, the bolts come out, in go probably some number of, it's probably just a 3 for 3 right there. And then you do 3 of these in for the 3 of Crone Wars, and I'd probably dump 2 Shaper Sanctuary in for a Sky Sovereign in the last of Crone War, and just run it like that. Maybe an Unlicensed Hearse comes in over another Sky Sovereign. But the point is you need the tempo, and that's really what those cleaves are sitting there for, from my understanding. I have yet to play with this deck. I've seen this deck. I've messed with a lot of builds that were similar to this, but this is the first time we'll actually get to play this. Oh, I should clarify and make sure I have the mana base right. I apologize. One moment. I know. I edged you guys on that one. But I'll make sure we get there. I want to make sure we have the right mana base. This is supposed to have 2 Mutavaults. 4 Mutavaults. Okay, it does. 4 Mutavaults? God, that's so many Mutavaults. How many lands are in this? 24. Do we have enough? Let's check the mana base real quick, chat. I get leery of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 green sources. Turn 1's plenty. Okay. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Let's fucking do it. Let's get after it. Is Gruul a real deck? This is the one that I would have guessed to be the most real of all the potential ones. Whether it is or isn't, we'll find out. But in a vacuum, if I had to just guess with zero testing what I would run for this weekend, it would be Gruul Aggro, probably. Alright. And for those who are wondering, there is an online tournament. It is free. It is this Sunday. It is at noon. It is through MTG Melee, and Hollywood Pizza is hosting. There is cash money. And yes, it is a free entry. So, highly advise, if you enjoy competitive Magic, to get rolling on this. We're keeping this because we are 1 land draw away from the God draw. This is why I hate Lair of Hydras in multiples. If this was any other land, we have the God draw in hand. Because this is the land, and it's not a red source. But we get 2 draw steps to hit an untapped land, and even if we don't, we still get Reckless Stormseeker on turn 2, potentially. And that alone, to me, is it merits consideration. And to be fair, they should have Disruption for Elvish Mystic turn 1. Like, this format should have turn 1 interaction with this card. We knew Mono Green Devotion was going to be everywhere. We knew Gruul Aggro was going to be present, and we knew humans and all these other decks got huge bumps in the 1-drop department. So, there it is. Alright. Let's move it on over, and we'll just do this the old-fashioned way. Are we up against Machine Head or Mono Black? Fucking hell. Alright. And you're seeing how effective Machine Head-esque strategy can be. Stormseeker gets pulled here. Probably. But I could also see the Chariot argument here. Oh, this is Mono Black Aggro. Okay. Fair enough. Do I care about this? I mean, like, we can do it for tempo, but does it really matter? I struggle to think I want to play a Bolt on that. Like, does it permanently answer it? Yes. Is it actually a problem? Fuck, I don't know. That seems like quite the bridge to get to think that this is actually going to be the thing that gets us in the end. I feel like whatever they're playing next is far more relevant, and there's the Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, we assumed they were going to have it for the Chariot, and sure enough, in it goes. Okay, so Crone War is still a thing. It's definitely a thing, alright. Alright, I guess we just a Crone War him. Yeah, fuck it. So it's Mono Black Speed Demon on that side. Alright. Well. Let's see how it pans out. I'm kind of curious. Dink, dink. Yep. Ooh, this will be fun. We don't play the ooze yet. This is sequencing all the way. All right. Push. Yeah, Jegantha on in. The goal here is to clean everything up with the Skoos after they swing in, and we inevitably block everything. Well, we block, trade, other one goes, dies to a Crone War. Yeah, that's fine. They can throw both of those back into their hand. Yep. Perfect. Out they go. In comes the Skoos. Nom nom. I guess we'll wait. Let's see if they actually try to do anything to Skoos. But nom nom. Skoos gets big. Yeah, I guess that's a card. What modes are you picking? Thought so. Okay. We'll just eat a couple of these. Not a big deal. They lose their Rankle. They lose the Scoozy. And in comes Jegantha, the biggest, fattest elk of them all. And they don't know we have nothing but removal sitting here. Like, Gruul is weirdly playing kind of a control role here. Murderous Rider. Alright, that's some spice. Play your creature. Sure. We'll boat. Sometimes you just gotta boat it up. How did we end up being a control deck? Well, step one. Take what you want. Yeah, you can have the Obliterating Bolt. Whatever. Cool. Do. Just go ahead and do this. Into this. Into this. And this is why we like the boat. Rawr. Got lethal 3 ways this turn. And there we are. So, triple thought seized, and we're still just fine. Yeah, still just fine. Okay, Skoos, you're important. Purse, probably a 1-of, right? Running Volley doesn't matter. Embercleave, that's not what this is for. Shapers isn't really for this matchup either, and I don't think we need the Outland Liberator. The question is, do we want the second Hearse? Nah, it feels like a lot. It feels like a lot. I think we can afford to cut 1, maybe 2 a Crone War. Yeah, it's a little pricey in this matchup. We're trying to get going a little bit faster than that. We have enough on the upper end of the curve. So let's flip it over this way. And remember, guys, if you like the content, toss a follow, toss a sub, show some support, show me some love, show the TheDarkStream some love. That's what we're here for. Validation and attention, obviously. Yeah, this will work. This is what I was wondering with this Gruul deck. Like, it just has the ability to grind at a level. I wanted mono green aggro to be able to grind like this, but it doesn't have the haymakers that this does. Like, Asika's Chariot's not impressive in mono green, but oh my god, is it impressive in this with Reckless Stormseeker. To a degree, Sky Sovereign's also pretty insane with Reckless Stormseeker. As long as you have one other power on the board to crew it, you can go boat. This might as well just be called Hasty Boat. Yeah, we'll take this. Another hand where they're going to Thoughtseize us. Yep. But another hand where I'm not super worried about it, frankly. Yep. Kind of figured that was coming. Do we do that? No, we'll do fast mana still, and force them to deal with it. Who knows what they'll do? Roberto, what do you do? Knight of the Even Legion. Okie dokie. There will be people who disagree with this line, but I want them to pot commit into that Knight of the Even Legion, and I want this land full free. And this is very much a, if you want this Knight to do more than 1 damage, you gotta sink a whole turn into it. Totally fine. Now we can Obliterating Bolt the thing. You are going to be on green, and you are going to die. C5, 6, yeah. Still got to do this, but happy we cut the other 2 Akroan Wars. Definitely didn't need to see multiples of that in this matchup. Okay, Mutavault comes out. We can play Mutavaults too. We need to be worried about sequencing here. Let's start with just swinging and see what happens. Yeah, I'd rather have a Love Struck here and force the harder removal. They should have the removal piece, but let's force it. Okay, so we know they have Heartless Axe, which means Scavenging Ooze would have been a stronger play there, but that's totally reasonable. Because they might have a Fatal Push too, and we force the Heartless Act there. They're playing a very grindy black deck. Mutavault obviously doing some heavy lifting with these this Manland trio. Sure. I think I'm going to do this with double ooze. Yeah. Let's overload the board. They only have 1 card in hand, so only 1 potential piece of removal. Let's just overload the board, and let's force it. Like, Skooz is not an easy card to deal with. And if it's Heartless Act, they can't kill the Skooz. And if they, like, overload the Knight, I will just Akroan War and grab everything. And by that I mean their Knight. What you got? What you got? Okay. They're playing it safe. As are we. Interesting. So many decisions. Gotta love these decision trees, right? I don't think we need to go into the Sekensen route. I do kind of like the Akroan War route, however. Just to grab the Knight out and move in. Yeah. That's mid. That's pretty mid. Let's grab Jegantha. Let's wait and see what they do for removal. Heartless Act is not going to do you anything here. And I think that's what they have is a Heartless Act. The way they're looking at these Skoozes. Well, that's irritating. Okay. Can't deal with it with a Heartless Act. Alright, you got Jegantha, you got a Crowan War. We're in top deck mode, but I've got Uzis. Good old Scoozies. And unless you have another land... Holy shit, they had a Legion's End. Okay. Well, that is quite the duo right there. And we top deck land. A boat there would have been amazing. Instead, they are going to bash us in the teeth for 7 points. Legion's End. I haven't seen that in a long time. Haven't had to play around that in a very long time. Okay. Deck. It is time to do more than top deck nonsense. It is time to top deck good shit. I kind of figured we were going to see Mutavault come and make an appearance. Don't want to block it just yet. Okay, Legion's End was probably the thing that's going to give him this game. Yep. Wow. Legion's fucking End. Haven't played against that in such a while. Okay, the Crowan War. I do not want you as much as Shaper Sanctuary. They are packing way more removal than I expected. So let's just do the anti-removal package. One Hearse does not feel as good as one Crowan War, however. Yeah. Alright, so don't overextend in Legion's End. That's the lesson here, folks. Let's see how it goes. Oh, that blowout. I thought we were playing so smart getting the 2 oozes there and playing around Heartless Act. Deck. Come on, man. Don't like it when we go to 5. Okay. Well, it has to start with a Shaper Sanctuary. Then they thought sees us, then we cry, and then we go into top deck mode, and then we pray. And that is the order of operations. Okay, we could still get a turn 3 Chariot, I guess. Like, fuck, I'll take it. If I can get a turn 3 Chariot, I'll take the Chariot every time. We win on a mold of 5, we get this Chariot to work? That'd be hilarious. I know you don't have counter spells. I also know how rough this is about to be. Let's get after it. And this is where they should be removing the Chariot. Yes, we'll draw. You gonna go after it again? I guess we're the aggro? Kind of weird, but we'll take it. Like, this is a mono black deck that is... Alright. Pretty well suited to dealing with us. Well, let's take their shit. Take our shit, we take your shit. That's how this goes. Do we want another Chariot more than Obliterating Bolt? I think we do, yeah. Yeah. I don't think they have Meathook Massacre in that deck, and if they do, they do. I know they have Legion's End, and that means we're potentially walking into quite the trap here, but they also have to have it, and we mold to 5. What the fuck? How do you have that? Just a vehicle. Yep, Witch's Vengeance putting in some work there. Alright. Now I think I'm just bolting this fucker. Right. Why play Witch's Vengeance in this? This is such a confusing deck because this is nowhere near what I would fuck with normally. Everybody discards a card is probably where they go here, right? Makes sense. Let's grab that and smack him in the teeth and move right along. What you gonna do here? Okay. Color me intrigued. Sure. Okay. Alrighty. It's kind of a weird play. Yeah. Let's get endless blockers for the Knight of the Eden Legion. Slash get us a little bit closer, and I think we have to overextend because they have lethal in 2 here. So we need to push to a position where we don't just die by them putting in a bunch of blockers. It's a very risky position. I don't like it at all. But we mulled to 5, and these are consequences. That's really what it boils down to. What does this deck get out of the new cards? Like anything? Or are we just playing against weird ass Brews and Diamond? It feels like it's just weird ass Brews and Diamond, you know? Let's see. We need to deal 4 points of damage. Okay. Trespasser not doing anything. Good. Alright, they've got 3 blockers. We need to deal more damage. 5, 6, 7, 8. If we swing out, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3. We're 1 point shy. Oh, that's frustrating. Our top deck was dead, so we are 1 point shy. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can make mistakes, though. Play for the mistake. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we just swing everything like this. And if they don't have a 1 mana piece removal that's relevant, we win. Okay. Fuck it. Have the Fatal Push or die. you want to sequence this correctly. Get fucked. Go. Game. Got it. Margin win. Took me a minute to figure it out, but a margin win. We'll take it. Alright, Gruul. One more. One more. Gruul list looks decent. Right? God, I love it when their own shit kills them. I don't know if they saw that. Like, it didn't matter if they had us draw a bunch of cards there. The odds of us drawing something relevant was very low. They definitely should have just fatal pushed any of those creatures to make sure that they were at 2 life so they went on the crackback. But they didn't. And that's how you get margin victories. I almost did the math wrong on Seeka's Chariot, so I was trying to figure out if we could survive that. And then I realized that there is no surviving that without some incredible misplays on their part, which unlikely to happen. So you go for the small margin ones instead. I don't know if this is a good hand, so we're keeping it to find out. Let's check it out, chat. And I know this is risky. If they're playing Thought Seizes, this is going to feel rough so quickly. But I don't know, and I really would like to. Rakdos, interesting. Okay, well, as long as we don't top deck any lands for like the rest of the game, I feel really good about it, right? Unlikely, but this shit can happen. Let's see what they do here. We're going to flip this on back to them because the odds of them playing Fable are pretty high. And if they go for the Fable, we just want to be able to Bone Crush the first half, flip in the next... Yeah, see, and they have the Bone Crusher for the Lana War. Patience pays off in this matchup. Rakdos players don't have patience a lot of the time. So they just start throwing these out willy-nilly, looking to get a minor edge. And don't get me wrong, if they play the Bone Crusher, now we can respond in kind. But... Yeah. Bone Crush for Bone Crush. We take these trades all day. We are looking to just move up the chain and get to Sky Sovereign life. It's somewhat tempting to go on the Reckless Stormseeker to aim for a speedy Seeka's, but I don't know that that's as relevant as we want it to be in this. We're grinding a little bit harder in this matchup typically. And really, the boat is what we want more than anything in this matchup. Once boat gets going, things get a lot easier. As you can see, boat's already going to be able to kill literally everything on their board. Right, so they're dumping out some extra lands. They're a little land heavy. Hopefully they didn't nab a Thoughtseize here. Would be pretty brutal. Okay, looks like we're just on this path. I'm okay if they go into hardcore removal here, but I want to make sure that we're blocking their side of the board out so that they can't easily swing into any of this. Like, I want them to expend all their resources on the current state so that we can move into Skyboat takes the game over. Like, if they swing with a Fable token, it means they have Fatal Push. But short of that, I'm not too concerned. Okay. We got the boat. See, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. I will trade into Seeka's Chariot at this point. It's gotten plenty of value here. We don't mind. I love how nervous they are about Embercleave. That's my favorite part of this. Joke's on you. I just wanted the boat. Okay. So, Boat's got to kill that Kiki. Step 1. They should have a removal spell for it, but it looks like they don't. Perfect. Yep. And here's where Boat starts to take over. So we start... Yeah, I still like starting there. Let's overload the board. Come on, let the Stormseeker resolve. We got the rest of this game to figure out still. Okay. Doop doop. And the beauty of that is because they blocked, Skoos can get around Bloodtithe Harvester. And we are looking just fine there, chat. This is the grindy engine in the house that Gruul built. And look at them searching for answers. I bet they popped that blood token. Yup. That's a Kenton ain't gonna do it. Okay. Shieldred's a good call here. Yep. Let's go ahead and grab their Bone Crusher. Gain a little life. Yep. We don't have the removal for Shieldred, but I don't know that we need it. So let's do a little math here. We can make that a 4/4, so we can't swing 5/4. We could kind of swing it. Do we want to? 2, 3. Weirdly, I think that's correct. It's Boat versus Shieldred here. Always a fun scenario. So it's going to be 6 points there. We can blow up the Trespasser just fine. Do we have the game, chat? That is the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, that's 10 points. Okay. Let's just do it. Yeah. Yep, we have it. Boat hitting for 6 is where it's at, and that boat is why we play it this way in this matchup. Also, a Crone War on Shieldred feels kind of weird and good. I think we want the Skoos and we want the Shaper Sanctuaries. What do we not want against this deck is really the question. I don't know that we need 4 of these. That feels very aggressive. And perhaps we don't even want 2. I think this might just be one Crone War again. I think this is really here because there are a number of aggro decks that have to get sorted with it. And I don't know that I mind 1 copy. It does do kind of a weird board reset, and it lets us like steal a Shieldred when we need the tempo. But I don't know that I want more than 1 post board. And that's a pretty easy sideboard plan. It also puts us lower to the ground, which I like. And the Shaper Sanctuaries do a lot of work in this matchup if they come down early enough. I mean, the only question I'm debating here, Chad, is do we want the first Outland Liberator before we want the first Akron War? Because if you flip them, these are amazing against Fable and Company. Not flipped, there's still a piece of removal against Fable and Company. Is that better than Akron War, though? I'd say let's give it a game. Let's give it a game and find out. I'm pretty comfortable with this scenario, though. Alright, Renato Sinin. See how close we can get to Mythic tonight. Yeah, it's a bit of a hard call. I agree with you, Max. Well, these Mutavaults have finally cost us a very keepable... Well, it's not a great hand, frankly. It would have been keepable, but it's not a great hand. Another... basically the same hand we kept as last time is presented right here. We don't have anything that's double red, which actually means we can go that route and go painless. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Thoughtseize turn 1 for 3 points of damage, like a boss. It's coming, right? Do we both mulliganed? Okay. There's the boat. You take the boat. You know it's coming. Take the boat. They take the Bone Crusher. They got a weird aggro plan that they're trying to roll out. Or they have another Thoughtseize. Probably another Thoughtseize. Whatever. Shaper Sanctuary. Fuck it. Let's make every removal spell from here to eternity be a problem. Thoughtseize. Nope. Just a little Blood Tithe. Okay, that's why they took the Bone Crusher. They need to get around that. Well... whatever. Let's just get closer to boat. Like, we're already 2 turns away, and we'll just get Jegantha in hand. I'm pretty okay with that. And if they want to kill this Mystic, they're gonna have to let me draw cards, which also feels pretty good. That coming into play tapped and not doing another piece of pressure for them is a big deal. If that turned into Fable or Trespasser, we'd be worried. But, okay, second Harvester's good. It's not amazing, but it's good for them. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Never, ever punished. Get fucked. Hello, Chariot. Boom. Does it feel good? Yeah, it does. It feels great when you get to Chariot like that. I mean, if they get to go Shieldred here, it's pretty bad for us. Gotta call it out, right? Sometimes it'd be like that, though. I mean, what's the play here? Oh, that's so brutal with the Shieldred triggers. Oh! Nasty. Nasty. Alright, we're still gonna draw, but... ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, we're still gonna draw. We have to in this instance. Like, we have to keep parity going here. We might die to a Shieldred via Shaper Sanctuary, which is at least an original way to go, I will say that. Okay. This is a pretty simple sequence here. We don't need the mana as much as we'd rather just get these two going. Look how amazing this would feel if Shieldred didn't have a 5-butt. Instead, that 5-butt just sits there and stares at us. That's okay. Love Struck stares right back. Yeah, we're still going to draw. I know this is accelerating our own demise, but at the same time, we need to find answers. Okay, they know what we're doing, and we know what they're doing. It's Boat vs. Shieldred round 2, right? Oh boy. Maybe we want another Crone War. Definitely feels like the one we kept in is correct. Imagine how amazing it would feel to draw that Crone War right fucking now. Oh, they're just gaining life left and right here, getting around the boat. It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem, chat. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let's go through that. Let's go through that. So we get to swing out for 10 here. We can't quite risk it all yet. If that was a green land, I'd risk it all. But I don't think we can quite pull that card yet. They can't block the Shieldred into this without losing it, which means we're going to... Oh my god, it's a Kenton. That's pretty good here. Blockers for days. Blockers for days. Alright, we've got 2 turns left. We're still in it. Again, we could just top deck a Crone War and go to town here too. They're drawing dead at the moment, but they are going to gain a lot of life while they draw dead, which is not great for us. Yeah, the castle being draw 1, gain 1 is pretty fucking good. Okay. Yep. I don't think we're doing a ton of math on this one. This is really more of a flop your nuts on the table and force them to deal with all of it. So, this needs to crew 4. 2, 3. So that's 4 right there. High risk moment here. Is this trample or no? Just +1/+0 haste. Okay, but we can do this. And actually we can force the block here. You copy that, you blow up that. And this forces the Shieldred block just in time. Yep. Ooh, we managed to kill a Shieldred and put them to 2. Technically we could have swung with the last one and gotten there. Let's see if we rue the day. If we lose, we lose. We win. Oppa! Alright. Missed lethal, sort of. So here's the thing. We missed lethal, but also if we had gone for lethal and made a fatal push, we could have gotten blown the fuck out. No, we just missed lethal. Never mind. That's on me. Didn't hurt, never punished. I'll take it. I'll take it. So, quick 2-0 with Gruul there. You saw the power of it going up against that Rakdos mid-range deck. And that's kind of what I mean. People have been trying to figure out, you know, is there a viable Gruul archetype? Yeah, it's this one. This is where I would start. I don't know that all these Crone Wars are necessary. They're there because aggro exists, and when you play against, like, humans, you're gonna fucking want them. That's the hypothesis. I have not played against humans with this list. It's gonna be a minute. Yeah, Boat is amazing against Rakdos. They have such issues with it, but it's a lot better when you pair it with Reckless Stormseeker and you get to this place where you get to actually give it haste. Hey, what is up, Shug Knight? How we doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. We've been doing some testing, so I think we went 4-1 this time. Aw, thank you for the biddies. Biddy titty committee. Alright, who's a small streamer that needs a little bit of love tonight? Who can we rate out to? Shug Knight, max damage, who do we have on the docket? I want to make sure we show some love. And let's do a quick shout out here. If you haven't checked out Shug Knight's content, everyone, check it out. I quite enjoy the streams that he does. I also enjoy the podcast. I believe there's a late night podcast that Shug Knight does, and I think Max Damage has been on it a few times, actually. It's a lot of fun. Great people, always a good time. But who can we go support, gents? Let's let's drop in. Let's say hi to people. It's a Wednesday night. You know, it's a good time to go be part of the community. Say hi to everybody. For everybody watching, in the meantime, this is the Gruul list I would start with for week 1 of this Explorer meta. Play the deck that plays Rending Volley and play the deck that beats Rakdos midrange and gets to play Rending Volley to shape up a lot of these different archetypes. Cifavretto Jr. Okay, let me find Cifavretto Jr. real quick. My apologies, it takes me a moment to get this all pulled together, and I am following a million people right now, so it's okay, we can do this. We can do this, chat. I believe in us. Raid Cifavretto. There we are. Let's get this raid going. Let's go say hi to everybody. All in on the raid train. Woot woot. Let's do it. Thank you for joining me. I know we don't stream for long periods of time, but it's always fun, and I appreciate every moment with you guys. TheDarkStream out.